number of Jews are returning to Israel. It's part of a fulfillment of prophecy spoken in the Bible.
A lost tribe, a forgotten prophecy, a return that no one saw coming. For nearly 2,700 years, they were scattered, hidden in the hills of Asia, buried in silence, spoken of only in whispers. But now, they've come back. From the remote mountains of northeast India, a people known as the Bnei Menashe, children of Manasseh, have stepped forward with an astonishing claim. They say they are descendants of one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And they're not just repeating stories, they're living proof of a prophecy in motion. In 2005, after decades of appeals, study, and spiritual devotion, Israel's chief rabbi formally recognized the Bnei Menashe as authentic descendants of the ancient Israelites. Their customs, their rituals, and their longing for Zion weren't remnants of some invented mythology. They were the real thing. But how? How could a people separated from Israel by continents and centuries preserve their identity with such clarity? That's where this story becomes something far bigger than heritage. This is prophecy stepping into the spotlight. To understand it, we must journey far from the Western Wall, into the misty highlands of Manipur and Mizoram, nestled between Myanmar and Bangladesh. Here, generations of villagers have grown up with a quiet conviction. They are Israelites. Not metaphorically, literally. Their oral history traces back to Manasseh, the son of Joseph. The name Manasseh in Hebrew means God has made me forget. But his descendants didn't forget. Even without the Torah, even without synagogues or Hebrew scrolls, they remembered. They kept the Sabbath. They practiced circumcision. They observed purity laws. They commemorated the Exodus, not through books but through memory and song. During the 19th century, British missionaries introduced Christianity to the region, leading to mass conversions. But something unusual happened. Instead of adopting European Christian culture, the people retained strikingly Jewish customs. They still spoke of Zion. They still clung to the God of Abraham. They still lit Sabbath candles and kept kosher-style dietary laws, without ever seeing a Torah scroll. Scholars, anthropologists, and rabbis debated. Was this all just cultural coincidence? Or was it something deeper? The Bnei Menashe weren't swayed by academic debates. They made their own declaration. We are the sons of Manasseh. We are part of Israel's forgotten story. That story goes back to 722 BCE, when the Assyrian Empire conquered the northern kingdom of Israel. 10 tribes, including Manasseh, were exiled and scattered. Most were presumed lost. But the Bible never said lost. It said scattered. And that one word makes all the difference. Scattered doesn't mean forgotten. It means preserved, hidden, for a time. From Persia to Afghanistan, through the Himalayas into western China, and finally into northeast India, the descendants of Israel moved, survived, and adapted, carrying sacred fragments of memory in their hearts. In the late 20th century, everything changed. Translations of the Bible into their native languages reached these remote villages. And when the Bnei Menashe read the Torah, the prophets, and the Psalms, they didn't see foreign scripture. They saw themselves. One elder declared, "This is not new to us. This is our story." In 1951, one tribal leader had a vivid dream, a vision of a land flowing with milk and honey, illuminated beneath ancient stars. He had never seen Israel, but he awoke with certainty. That is our home. By 2005, after years of community efforts, prayer, and spiritual preparation, Israel's rabbinate recognized their claim. But recognition came with responsibility. The return required study, conversion to Halakhic Judaism, and immersion into modern Israeli life. And so began the Aliyah, the ascent. Thousands made the journey, trading remote forests for bustling cities, all to fulfill a promise made not just to Abraham, but whispered across centuries in their own homes. One of them was Sarah Maness, a 78-year-old woman who left her remaining children behind in India to reunite with her daughter in Israel. Her eyes filled with both joy and grief. But she wasn't leaving home. She was walking into it. Like the Exodus of old, This journey wasn't easy. New immigrants faced culture shock, language barriers, economic challenges, and even discrimination. Some Israelis questioned their identity. Others welcomed them with open arms. Still, the Bnei Menashe pressed forward. They learned Hebrew. They built homes. They served in the Israeli army. They taught their children. They kept the Sabbath alive in the land they had only seen in dreams. But thousands remain in India, roughly 6,500, waiting, hoping, praying. And then a storm came. In spring 2023, violent ethnic conflict broke out in Manipur. Homes were burned. Synagogues were attacked. Sacred Torah scrolls were destroyed. Families were torn apart. The Bnei Menashe were not combatants, they were peaceful people caught in the crossfire. For a community that had preserved faith through centuries of exile, it was devastating. And for those watching, it wasn't just a crisis, it was a call. Israeli organizations raised the alarm. Lawmakers demanded swift action. Rabbis pleaded with the government to bring the remaining families home. But red tape and bureaucracy slowed the process. So they wait. In refugee camps, in shelters, with hope flickering in their eyes and ancient prayers on their lips. Their story isn't isolated. Across the world, other communities are also rising, claiming ties to Israel. The Beta Israel of Ethiopia, the Igbo of Nigeria, the Crypto-Jews of Spain and Latin America. It's not coincidence. It's convergence. The prophet Zechariah wrote, "I will whistle for them and gather them in." And now, the wind is blowing across the dry bones of history, calling names long forgotten. And it leads to a question many are now asking. If the tribes are returning, is the Messiah coming soon? There's a gate in Jerusalem, sealed for nearly 500 years. The Eastern Gate, also called the Golden Gate. It faces the Mount of Olives, directly across the Kidron Valley. According to both Jewish and Christian prophecy, it is the very gate the Messiah will enter through. But it was sealed shut by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman in the 16th century, out of fear. He also placed a cemetery outside the gate to prevent any priestly figure from passing through, in accordance with Jewish law. But in trying to block prophecy, he fulfilled it. The prophet Ezekiel saw this moment. This gate shall remain shut, because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through it. Ezekiel 44 verse 2. In 1969, archaeologists uncovered a second gate beneath the sealed one, believed to be the original gate from the time of Jesus, the one he may have entered through on Palm Sunday. 2 gates, 2 comings, 1 king. One day the gate will open again, not by politics, but by power. So now we must ask, are we watching the final pieces fall into place? The return of Bnei Menashe, the unrest in Israel, the global unrest, the realignments, the whispers from the East Gate. It's all converging. It's not just history anymore. It's now.